Right, now in January we started a new monthly series here on Expresso called Startup of the Month. Now it's time again to feature a unique and innovative South African company that is doing their part to make this country a better place. Now for February we feature a company that is taking on education industry and also creating jobs at the same time.
We're really looking to change education and flip the tutoring industry on its head. I think the biggest thing is we want to make tutoring lessons accessible to everyone. And we've got a lot of targets in the back end and how we're going to achieve that.
We are Cognition and we are the Uber for tutors.
So in terms of the issue that was at hand is being able to pinpoint a tutor in your area quick and easy at a rate that you're looking for. It's really simple. A student can come on board and request their lesson, specifying their date, time, how much they're willing to pay, and posting that request, which goes to all our tutors.
So from the tutor's point of view, I get a request from a student in my area, and I can decide if I want to do that class in that grade group for that price, and I can even change the price and tell the student I'm actually willing to do it for a bit less or for a bit more, depending on my circumstances. And then the student can select whichever tutor he likes.
The user benefit overall basically takes that whole process from a manual situation, which could take days, if not weeks, to facilitate that connection and bringing it down to a matter of minutes.
So the big goal for Cognition is to disrupt education in South Africa, giving each and every student in our country access to one-on-one tutoring to improve their grades, whether it's helping them out of trouble or getting them into those 7 straight A's.
Thank you very much. Well, joining us right now to give us some more insight into the business of Cognition is our startup expert, Steve Fortuin. Steve, lucky to have you, my brother.
Good morning.
That looks cool, man. That looks cool, and we just spoke about it off air now. The success of this, how's it been?
I think Cognition is a great example of a business that has used technology in order to deliver what matters to its customers. Coming from a tech startup space, so many businesses do it the other way. They perhaps build the technological platform before just understanding exactly what matters to the customer and then using the technology to enable that.
Okay, so in your opinion, as a startup expert, a tech entrepreneur, why do you think this company, Cognition, made it to Startup of the Month for February? What put them kind of in the spotlight?
It's definitely the tech flair. I think what didn't come out in the insert was that the early days of Cognition they were completely manual business. Everything was done by hand. So it's a completely special then to find a manual business that then builds technology or a technological platform on top of that in order to better leverage their business model. And I think you can see the value that it's had. It's opened up communities, it's opened up the tutoring space. To some degree now, tutors out there have got a formal way of earning an income.
Yeah, and I think what is great about this, it makes education accessible, to so many, and we know that we need to focus on education within the country specifically as well. I think that's why it's also doing so very well.
Yeah.
But what do you think it takes to start a business like this? There's a lot of entrepreneurs in the tech fields and that kind of stuff, but it must be quite challenging, I think, to start something like this, especially if you don't have that know-how or backing.
Yeah, I think most important to the tech sector, it's important to realize that technology is not a solution. Technology is the means to getting to the solution. I think, as I said a moment ago, it's often that when businesses in the tech space specifically start up, the first thing you create is an app or website, whatever the case is, and then later on you go and figure out actually what's at the core of what matters to your customers.
Yeah.
Doing it the other way around has seen massive value, and that's the story of Cognition.
Yeah. And like you rightly mentioned, technology is a means to realize your dream. So you need to have that idea first, and then you can incorporate technology. Now, of course, what are you busy with at the moment? Because you interact a lot with these kind of businesses and people wanting to do these kind of startups.
So the startup space in SA is huge. There's so many businesses like Cognition that never get spoken about, and nobody ever knows about them until they perhaps get a big enough marketing budget to advertise themselves. So I've gone out there, I've found these businesses, besides just the understanding what the business does and the solution that it's serving. The founders themselves have the valuable and golden insights on actually how to run a company. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing via a podcast series, getting into the specifics of how to start a tech business, what worked for them, what didn't, which is also just as important as figuring out how to do something right.
What is it? What would you say is that first initial step? I mean, I've got a great idea. Like let's take myself for example. Like I'm not technologically advanced at all. I don't particularly understand it. I know how to use it. But if I have an idea, what would be my first step? Would that be to maybe align with the right people?
I think a lot of people say keep it a secret and give everybody NDAs before talking about it. I've seen massive value in talking about your idea. Tell your friends, tell your family. Let's get their opinion on what it is. Because at the end of the day, those people are going to become your customers potentially. So if you keep an idea secret to yourself, or perhaps you keep it in stealth mode and do a lot of work in your bedroom before telling anybody about it, it's just building the risk of it perhaps not working out at a later stage. So the first thing and foremost is get out there, get talking to people, tell them about it, and take their insight and just use it to craft your solution.
Exactly. All right. Well, Steve, thank you very much for your insights, man, and thank you for bringing us Cognition.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
that is such a cool app. I think I must definitely go get it. So it's free to download, or how does it work?
Free to download. You can get them on the iOS store, or I think they're on the Apple store as well. They're a great business. They don't have a web platform at all. Everything is app-based. Another good example of a tech business. So check them out.
That's brilliant, man. We all love our apps. Thank you very much, Steve. Well, check out our Startup of the Month once again next month to see what we will bring your way.